Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me at K Warner Studio and this Happy Days series collaboration with Tina at Cards and Coffee Time. We decided to use what we have in our stash, and we both had BoBunny Monster stamp set. I stamped this with Versamark and I used embossing powder onto some Strathmore tiles, watercolor tiles. I then used the Zig clean color real brush markers and watercolored in the images. And then when that was dry, I fussy cut them out. I then decided that I'd like to have some texture on the monster's belly, so I stamped the lower portion of the largest monster onto some really texturized cardstock, and I fussy cut that out, making sure that I went just inside the line so that nice embossing powder would show clearly on the card and not be hidden by this texture. Please check out Cards and Coffee Time's video. It's at her YouTube channel. The links will be below. She has a giveaway going on over there, and please watch her video for the rules. And I hope that you enjoy this collaboration. So I decided to take a sponge and sponge on some good liquid glue onto that texturized cardstock and apply that onto the stamp, the watercolored stamp. This is called paper piecing. Once I had that where I like it, I decide that it's time to get the cardstock cut. This project takes 2 pieces, 6 1/4 by 4 1/4, and then some decorative pieces for the inside and outside. 1 6 by 6 paper will do it. One sheet makes one card. And then after that was cut, I decided that I would score it all at one time. So you score both sides of each portion at 1/4 and 1/2. So I scored at 1/4 and 1/2, and then I rotated 180 degrees, and then I repeat that again for both pieces. Making sure that you have that end of the cardstock butt right up against the scoreboard. When you finish that, you need to really burnish those lines good, because a good burnish makes sure that this card stands up the way that it should. That 1/4 inch score can be a little finicky, but you really need to make sure that that's done well. And then when they're completed, it's time to do the die cutting. I cut out a few little bats out of black cardstock, and I used the Die-Namics dome-shaped stitches, Die-Namics, the largest one. I cut the decorative piece and the front both at the same time. If you position that die into the decorative piece precisely, you only need to do the one cut. So I applied glue liberally, especially around where the opening is. And I glued that down over the front of the card. I did have to remove a little off of each end because I used just the 1 6 by 6 piece of paper. Apply a good strong adhesive. This is 3M, but you could use score tape or liquid glue if that's your preference. Making sure to apply a thin strip along the 1/4 inch score section on the front and back of the cards, coming up to the score line but not over it. Now make sure that you have both of those 1/4 inch sections pointed towards the center and remove the backing off of the back and the front. Match both corners up and then apply pressure so that you have a good tight seal. It's imperative that there are no runovers or edges hanging out. Everything has to be nicely squared up. Once you have that done, it's time to place the center of the cutout designer paper or pattern paper into the center hole of the front card. Just apply your glue, making sure that you get the glue right to the edges. Lay the card flat, so those 1/4 inch parts that were glued will be facing out, pointing out, and the card will be laying flat. And you just insert that cutout, which was from your pattern paper, the offcut, and you just attach that to the back of the card. I decided to put the largest in the center on the inside of the card, and then I applied a wobble. This has adhesive on both ends. I just made sure it was in the middle, and then attach that to the back of the card. It's a mini wobble, so it's not, doesn't have a projectile that comes too far out of the card. As you can see, it stands up nicely, and you don't see any of the bits that you've glued or applied adhesive on the inside to at all. Now I gathered up some embellishments. Attached eyes to the little critters that were cut out, fussy cut out originally. I also applied score tape to the front and back and pieces of acetate. Now here I want to show you that the card actually glows in the dark. And there you can see the attached monsters with the sign Boo and the bats flying. One of the bats is hanging down off of a strip of acetate. And there you can see it stands up nicely to show the card off. And then I took some liquid pearls and applied eyes to the big monster. And here's the finished card. Thank you very much for joining me, and please remember to head over to Tina's Card and Copy Time. Bye-bye.